What is a dog? The answer seems simple. It's that four-legged, tail-wagging bundle of fur that greets you at the door like you just won the lottery. But behind that joyous grin lies a story written in DNA, millennia of coexistence, and a whole lot of hilarious mishaps. If you've ever wondered why your pup sniffs a stranger's crotch, chases its own tail, or seems to understand every word you say, except bath time, you're in the right place. This is the What Is Guide to the species that has been called man's best friend, and also the most reliable supplier of zoomies after a rainstorm. Grab a treat, settle in, and let's unpack the canine enigma. Biologically speaking, a dog is Canis lupus familiaris, a domesticated subspecies of the grey wolf. Taxonomically, they belong to the family Canidae, which includes foxes, wolves, and jackals. In plain English, that means your Chihuahua is a distant cousin of the timber wolf that howls at the moon, though the only thing your Chihuahua howls at is the vacuum cleaner. Scientists argue about exactly when the wolf stopped being a wolf and became a dog, but most agree it happened somewhere between 15,000 and 30,000 years ago, long before we had smartphones to document the process. The domestication story reads like the oldest reality show. Early humans probably didn't adopt puppies out of kindness. They likely tolerated them because the wolves helped with hunting and guarded camps. Over time, those wolves that were less aggressive and more tolerant of human presence got more food and protection, creating a feedback loop that slowly turned fierce predators into couch surfing companions. Archaeological evidence from sites like Altai Mountains in Israel shows dogs buried alongside humans as early as 15,000 years ago, suggesting our bond goes way beyond who ate the leftovers. Physically, dogs are built for a lifestyle that mixes endurance, speed, and an almost absurd sense of smell. A dog's nose contains up to 300 million olfactory receptors, compared to a human's mere 5 million. That's why your dog can track a single drop treat across a park, detect the scent of a fierce sweat on a stranger, and also locate that one hidden piece of bacon you thought you'd concealed. Their ears can rotate nearly 180 degrees, picking up frequencies as high as 45,000 Hz, far beyond the 20,000 Hz limit of human ears. In short, your pup is a walking, sniffing, ear-twitching surveillance system wrapped in fur. One of the most striking things about dogs is the sheer variety of breeds, over 340 recognized by the Fédération Cynologique Internationale. From the towering Irish Wolfhound to the teacup Chihuahua, each breed was crafted through selective breeding for specific jobs. Herding breeds like the Border Collie have an almost obsessive need to move things, including your toddler. Hound breeds like the Bloodhound can follow a scent trail that's days old, while toy breeds like the Pomeranian were bred purely to look adorable and to serve as tiny fluffy alarm systems. The diversity is so vast that if you lined up all the breeds, you'd think you'd walked into a fur-covered United Nations. Dogs communicate in a language that humans have learned to read, even if we sometimes get it wrong. A tail wag isn't always a sign of happiness. The direction, speed, and stiffness matter. A slight right-handed wag often signals excitement, while a broad left-wide sweep can indicate relaxation. Barking is like a vocal fingerprint. Different pitches, durations, and patterns convey everything from "I'm bored" to "there's a mailman and I will defend this house until the end of time." And then there's the classic playbow, where a dog lowers its front legs and raises its rear, which roughly translates to, "Let's roughhouse now, but I promise I won't actually bite." If you've ever watched a dog chase its tail, you've witnessed a moment of pure, inexplicable comedy. Scientists speculate it's a way to release built-up energy, a manifestation of a hunting instinct, or simply a symptom of, "I have zero chores and too much enthusiasm." Some dogs spin because they're bored. Others do it because they've discovered that humans find it hilarious. And who doesn't love an audience? The internet is full of videos of dogs doing zoomies, those sudden bursts of speed around the house or yard that look like they've been possessed by the spirit of a race car. In reality, it's just a happy overflow of pent-up joy, often triggered by the mere possibility of a walk or the arrival of a favorite human. Dogs have also taken on jobs that require a level of dedication that would make any corporate employee jealous. Service dogs guide the blind, alert the deaf, detect low blood sugar, and even provide emotional support to people with PTSD. Herding dogs like the Australian Kelpie control livestock with a focus that would impress any drill sergeant. Search and rescue dogs, such as the beloved Labrador Retriever, sniff through rubble to find survivors, while detection dogs screen luggage for contraband at airports. In many ways, a dog's career can be summed up as, whatever the human needs, I'll do it, except maybe the vacuum cleaner. The bond between humans and dogs is more than emotional. It's actually physiological. Petting a dog has been shown to lower cortisol levels, reduce blood pressure, and release oxytocin, the same cuddle hormone that bonds mothers to their babies. Studies even suggest that dog owners get a modest boost in immune function, possibly because we're constantly exposed to a bit of extra dirt and microbes, aka the good kind of mess. In short, having a dog around is like a 24/7 therapy session that doesn't charge by the hour. Let's bust a few myths, shall we? Contrary to the old wives' tale, dogs don't see the world in black and white. They see shades of blue and yellow, but reds appear as dark grey or brown, which is why that bright red toy you bought might look like a dull rock to your pup. Also, a dog's guilty look after chewing your favorite shoe isn't actually guilt. It's a learned response to your tone of voice. The dog is just trying to appease you, not confess to a crime. And contrary to popular belief, dogs don't have sweat glands all over their bodies. They cool off primarily through panting and the pads of their paws, which is why a hot pavement can be a real problem. Here's a handful of funny facts that might make you look at your dog with renewed awe. Each dog's nose print is unique, just like a human fingerprint. Police forces actually use nose prints to identify dogs in some countries. Dogs can detect certain cancers, low blood sugar, and even seizures before they happen, using their extraordinary sense of smell. They also yawn when they see a human yawn, which might be a sign of empathy, or just a social contagion that says, if you're bored, I'm bored. And speaking of boredom, a bored dog can develop stereotypic behaviors, like obsessive licking or shadow chasing, which is the canine equivalent of stress eating an entire bag of chips. If you've enjoyed this tail-wagging tour of dog science, hit that like button, subscribe to What Is for more bite-sized explainers, and let us know in the comments what other animals you want us to decode. And if your pup has ever done something hilariously inexplicable, share that story. We'd love to hear it. Moving deeper into the dog-human dynamic, it turns out dogs are also linguistic prodigies. Research shows that the average dog can learn around 165 words, though some border collies have been documented understanding over 1,000. They can differentiate between a big treat and a small treat, and they can even interpret the tone of your voice, responding differently to praise versus a neutral command. Some dogs can even learn the names of specific toys, fetching exactly the right one when asked, though they might also throw in a "who me" face if they decide the toy is boring. When it comes to health, dogs are susceptible to a range of issues, from hip dysplasia in larger breeds to brachycephalic breathing problems in flat-faced pooches like bulldogs. The lifespan varies widely. Tiny breeds like the Chihuahua can live 15 to 20 years, while giant breeds like the Great Dane often only reach 7 to 10 years. Regular vet checkups, a balanced diet, and plenty of exercise can keep tails wagging well into the senior years. And just like humans, dogs can benefit from dental care, because nobody wants a toothless grin at the dog park. Adopting a dog is a big decision, and it's one of the most rewarding acts you can take. Rescue dogs often come with a backstory that adds depth to the bond, and breed-specific rescues can help match you with a pup that fits your lifestyle. Whether you're looking for a marathon running partner or a couch potato companion, there's a dog out there for everyone. And remember, a dog doesn't care about your house size or car model, only that you show up with love, treats, and occasional belly rubs. As someone who has adopted and currently has a Staffordshire Bull Terrier snoring on my feet, I can personally attest that it is one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. Looking ahead, science is diving into the canine genome to uncover the secrets behind longevity, behavior, and even the genetics of those quirky traits we love. Researchers are exploring gene editing to eliminate hereditary diseases, and some companies are even offering doggy DNA tests that reveal your pup's breed mix, health risks, and personality predictions. While cloning dogs is still controversial and pricey, the technology exists, meaning your beloved Max might one day have a genetic twin, though the new version will still need to learn where you hide the treats. So, what is a dog? In a nutshell, a dog is a domesticated wolf that has traded the wild for a warm hearth, a belly full of kibble, and an unending supply of unconditional love. They're part of our families, our protectors, our exercise buddies, and our comedy relief. They teach us about loyalty, patience, and the joy of living in the moment, often by reminding us that the moment is perfect for a walk, a snack, or a good old-fashioned howl at the siren in the distance. From Lassie to Cujo, dogs have been the stars of our favorite movies, TV shows, and internet memes. The first canine cinema hero, Rin Tin Tin, turned a real-life war dog into a silver screen legend, and the 1943 film The Lost Weekend was almost renamed after him because producers thought a dog would draw more crowds. Today, Instagram boasts over 300 million posts with hashtag #DogsOfInstagram, and TikTok is flooded with dog POV videos that rack up millions of views faster than you can say sit. Whether it's the heroic Lassie saving Timmy from a well, the terrified Cujo going on a rampage, or the lovable Scooby-Doo solving mysteries with a sandwich in hand, dogs have an uncanny ability to steal scenes. Even the humble Doge meme, featuring a Shiba Inu perched behind a laptop, spawned an entire cryptocurrency, proving that a dog's influence can cross from the couch to the blockchain. In short, when a dog steps in front of a camera, the world watches. Around the world, dogs have taken on cultural roles that vary as much as the flavors of ice cream. In Japan, the Akita is a symbol of loyalty, famously commemorated in the story of Hachiko, who waited 9 years at a train station for a master who never returned. In the Scottish Highlands, the collie, specifically the rough collie, has become an emblem of pastoral dignity, while the Hungarian mudik, the plural of mudi, are celebrated as fearless herders. In Mexico, the Xoloitzcuintli, or Mexican hairless dog, was revered by the Aztecs as a guide to the underworld, and today they're cherished as hypoallergenic companions. The Basenji, often called the barkless dog, has been a hunting partner in Central Africa for millennia, and its unique yodel-like vocalization is as iconic as the local culture. Across these diverse contexts, one thing remains constant. Dogs adapt to human culture faster than we can change a light bulb, and they do it with a wagging tail. Mythology is full of four-legged deities, from the Egyptian jackal-headed Anubis, who weighed hearts against the feather of truth, to the Norse god Freyr, who rode a boar named Gullinbursti that glowed in the dark. In Hindu tradition, the dog is the mount of the god Bhairava, and the ancient Greeks believed the three-headed guard dog Cerberus kept the underworld's gates secure. Even the Celtic legends speak of the fairy hounds, the Quen and Wyn, that roamed the other world, and the Native American Iroquois tell stories of the dog star Sirius guiding hunters at night. These mythic mutts often embody traits we admire: loyalty, protection, and an uncanny sense of the beyond. While modern dogs may not be guarding the river Styx, they still guard our front porches and our hearts, proving that the old tales were onto something. Beyond companionship, dogs serve as certified therapy and emotional support animals in hospitals, schools, and even courtrooms. In pediatric wards, therapy dogs like the golden retriever Bailey have been shown to reduce anxiety in young patients, lowering pain perception and speeding recovery. In classrooms, reading dogs, yes, dogs that sit quietly while kids read aloud, help improve literacy by removing the fear of judgment. In legal settings, courtroom dogs provide comfort to witnesses testifying about traumatic events. Their presence alone can lower cortisol and steady a trembling voice. The Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, recognizes service dogs as working animals, not pets, granting them access to public spaces that would otherwise be off-limits. Whether it's a crisis response dog comforting survivors after a disaster, or a court dog offering a calming paw to a child on the stand, these tail-wagging professionals prove that a dog's job description can be as varied as the alphabet. Technology has jumped on the dog wagon, with wearables that track health, AI-powered apps that decode barks, and even drone-delivered treats. Modern dog collars can monitor heart rate, activity levels, and even sleep patterns, sending data straight to a smartphone so owners can know if their pup is having a lazy day or a midnight zoomie. Some startups have developed bark translators that analyze pitch, duration, and frequency to tell you if your dog is excited, frightened, or just complaining about the weather. Meanwhile, prototype drones are being tested to drop kibble in remote areas, a high-tech solution for pets in places where a walk to the food bowl is a trek across a mountain. In the not-so-distant future, we may see a smart leash that gives a gentle vibration when your dog is about to chase a squirrel, effectively a GPS-enabled no-chase zone. The intersection of paws and pixels is turning the dog-human bond into a high-tech partnership, though the core, belly rubs, remains analog. In the wild, dogs have become unlikely allies in conservation, helping track endangered species and sniff out illegal wildlife trade. In African parks, anti-poaching canine units, often Labrador or German Shepherd mixes, track the scent of ivory, rhino horn, and illegal timber, making arrests that much quicker. In the Amazon, detection dogs locate missing giant otters, while in New Zealand, dogs help locate native birds like the kiwi, whose nests are hidden deep in the underbrush. Even in marine conservation, scent-trained dogs can detect whale scat from a boat, providing DNA samples that reveal diet, health, and reproductive status without disturbing the whales. These four-legged investigators are proof that the domestic dog's super sniffer can be harnessed for planet-scale problems. So the next time you see a dog chasing a butterfly, remember that same instinct could one day help save an entire species. Training tips, the do's and don'ts of shaping a well-behaved pup, and why bribery, positive reinforcement, actually works. First, keep sessions short. Dogs have the attention span of a goldfish on espresso, so aim for 5 to 10 minute bursts. Use high-value treats. Yes, that means real chicken, not stale kibble. And pair each success with praise, a treat, or a game of tug. Avoid punishment. Research shows that scolding a dog after the fact confuses them, because by the time you discover the chewed shoe, they've already moved on to plotting the next heist. Consistency is key. If off means get off the couch, don't let them stay just this once. And remember, a tired dog is a good dog. Daily walks or play sessions burn off energy that would otherwise be redirected into furniture destroying zoomies. With patience, a pocket full of treats, and a dash of humor, you'll have a polite pup who'll sit, stay, and maybe even fetch the remote on command. If this episode answered the question, "What is a dog?" and left you smiling, please give it a thumbs up, share it with fellow dog lovers, and subscribe to What Is for more deep dives into the animal kingdom. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. Until next time, keep those tails wagging and those noses sniffing. Bonus fact, a dog's sense of smell is so precise that they can detect changes in a human's blood sugar level simply by sniffing sweat, making them life-saving companions for people with diabetes. What is a cat? Is it a pocket-sized tiger that traded the African savanna for a sunny windowsill? Is it a four-legged aristocrat who deigns to share its royal presence with a bunch of bewildered humans? Or is it perhaps the only creature on Earth that can stare you down, judge your life choices, and still expect you to open a can of tuna at 3 a.m? If you've ever watched a cat loaf on a couch, chase a laser dot like it's a matter of national security, or mysteriously appear on your keyboard, exactly when you're trying to type an important email, you've glimpsed the enigma we're about to unpack. In the next 20-something minutes, we'll dive into the biology, the wild history, the surprisingly recent domestication, and the quirky benefits of sharing your home with a creature that, by all accounts, still thinks it runs the planet. We'll also drop a little surprise at the end that might change how you see cats forever. Well, fellow curious minds, let's answer the age-old question: what is a cat? Biology. Let's start with the hard science, because even the most aloof feline is, at the end of the day, a biological marvel. Cats belong to the family Felidae, a lineage that split from other carnivores about 25 million years ago. The domestic cat, Felis catus, is a subspecies of the wild cat Felis sylvestris, and genetically it's about 95% identical to its wild ancestor. That tiny 5% difference is what lets them tolerate a human's inconsistent feeding schedule and still look at us like we're the servants. A typical house cat weighs between 2.5 kilograms, 5.5 pounds, and 5 kilograms, 11 pounds. Though some breeds, think Maine Coons or Ragdolls, can tip the scales at over 10 kilograms, 22 pounds. Their skeletons are incredibly flexible. They have 230 bones, compared with a human's 206, and their collarbone floats, allowing them to squeeze through spaces that look impossibly small. That's why your cat can vanish into a cardboard box that's barely bigger than a pizza box. Their senses are a different story. Cats have an extraordinary sense of hearing, up to 64 kilohertz, well beyond the human range of 20 kilohertz. Their night vision is legendary, thanks to a reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum that bounces light back through the retina. Ever notice those glowing eyes in a darkened room? That's the cat's personal night mode. Their whiskers aren't just decorative, they detect minute changes in air currents, essentially giving them a built-in GPS for hunting in the dark. And the tongue, oh, the tongue. Covered in tiny backward-facing spines called papillae, it acts like a comb, grooming fur and scraping meat off bones. Those spines also help them drink efficiently. A cat curls its tongue into a J shape, pulls liquid up in a column, and snaps its mouth shut before gravity can intervene. It's a technique so elegant that engineers have tried to mimic it in robotic fluid delivery systems. But the most important biological trait might be their independent metabolism. Cats are obligate carnivores. They need nutrients found primarily in animal tissue: taurine, arachidonic acid, vitamin A in its preformed state. That's why feeding a cat a vegetarian diet is a big no-no, unless you want a very unhappy, blind kitty. So from a purely biological standpoint, a cat is a lean, whiskery, night vision enhanced predator that's perfectly engineered to survive on a diet of meat and the occasional nap. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the world of cats, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because we've got plenty more curious creatures to explore. Drop a comment below. What's the funniest thing your cat has ever done? We read every reply. Back to the kitties and their history. Now that we know what a cat is made of, let's travel back in time to see where it came from. The earliest ancestors of modern cats prowled the forests of Asia, about 10 to 15 million years ago. By the time humans started settling down and cultivating grain, a small wildcat species, Felis sylvestris libica, the African wildcat, began hanging around human settlements, attracted by the easy pickings of rodents feasting on stored wheat. This mutualistic relationship is the first chapter in the long, intertwined story of cats and humans. Ancient Egyptians are often credited with the first true domestication, around 4,000 years ago. Cats were revered, even deified. The goddess Bastet, depicted as a lioness or a cat, embodied protection, fertility, and the home. Killing a cat, accidentally or not, was a crime punishable by death. Egyptian murals show cats beneath chairs, lounging at banquet tables, and even wearing jewelry. But cats didn't just stay in Egypt. Phoenician traders whisked them across the Mediterranean, and by 500 BCE, they'd arrived in Greece, Rome, and eventually the rest of Europe. In ancient Rome, cats were valued for their pest control abilities, and they were often given as gifts to foreign dignitaries. Think of them as the original diplomatic goodwill ambassadors, with fur. The medieval period was a bit of a roller coaster. While cats were still practical for keeping grain stores free of rodents, they got lumped in with witchcraft and superstition. In the 13th century, the Catholic Church declared cats to be associated with the devil, leading to widespread persecution. This cultural backlash likely had an unexpected consequence. More on that surprise later in today's bonus fact at the end of the video. In the Far East, cats had a different fate. In Japan, the maneki neko, the waving cat, became a symbol of good luck, originally appearing in the 17th century to beckon customers into shops. In China, cats were celebrated in art and literature, valued for both their hunting skills and their supposed ability to ward off evil spirits. Fast forward to the 19th century, the advent of cat shows, the first in London in 1871, and the breeding of distinct breeds turned the domestic cat into a hobbyist's passion. Today, there are over 70 recognized breeds, from the hairless Sphinx to the fluffy Persian, each sculpted by decades of selective breeding. So the history of cats is a tale of reverence, suspicion, and ultimately, a worldwide love affair, still going strong. Domestication. If history is the macro story, domestication is the nuts and bolts of how a wild cat became a couch potato. Domestication isn't a single event, it's a gradual process. Scientists believe it started when early farmers inadvertently created an environment that selected for bolder, more tolerant wildcats. Those that could endure close proximity to humans were more likely to survive and reproduce, passing on genes for reduced fear and increased sociability. Over roughly 10,000 years, these subtle genetic shifts accumulated, and the domestic cat emerged. Unlike dogs, cats kind of domesticated themselves. While humans were busy planting wheat, mice were feasting on the grain, and wildcats that could catch them were rewarded with a steady food supply. Humans didn't have to do much, except perhaps tolerate the occasional nocturnal yowl. In a sense, cats chose us as much as we chose them. One of the key genetic changes in domestic cats is in the serotonin pathway, which influences mood and aggression. Domestic cats tend to be less aggressive and more approachable than their wild counterparts. There's also a mutation in the tailless gene that produces the cute bobtail seen in some breeds, though that particular mutation appears in island populations, where short tails were advantageous for navigating dense vegetation. Another fascinating adaptation is the purr. While wild cats can purr, typically when inhaling, domestic cats have refined the sound to a steady 25 to 150 Hz hum that can be heard both when inhaling and exhaling. This low-frequency vibration is thought to promote bone density and healing, and it also signals contentment to us. Though some cats purr when they're anxious or in pain, a clever way to manipulate their human servants. The social structure of cats has also shifted. Wild cats are largely solitary. Domestic cats, however, have learned to live in multi-cat households, forming hierarchies and developing complex communication. Think the subtle ear twitch or the classic slow blink of affection. In short, cats have learned to be flexible, whether that means sharing a sofa with a sibling or tolerating a toddler's endless hugs. Understanding this process helps explain why our cats behave the way they do. They're hardwired for independence, but they've also evolved to thrive alongside us. Benefits of cat ownership. Now let's get to the good stuff. Why you might want a cat in your life, beyond the obvious entertainment of watching them attack a feather wand. 1. Stress reduction. Numerous studies show that interacting with cats, petting, playing, or even just hearing them purr, can lower cortisol levels, the body's primary stress hormone. In a 2020 study, cat owners reported lower perceived stress compared with non-owners. It turns out a cat's purr, at about 26 to 50 Hz, can promote relaxation and even improve sleep quality. 2. Mental health boost. Cats provide companionship, especially for people living alone. They're known to alleviate symptoms of depression and anxiety, partly because they demand routine, feeding times, litter box cleaning, which gives a sense of purpose. The simple act of a cat curling up on your lap can trigger the release of oxytocin, the love hormone. 3. Pest control. Let's be honest, the original reason we invited cats into our homes was to keep rodents at bay. Even today, a single cat can reduce mouse populations in a home by up to 50%. That's a natural chemical-free pest control service. Plus, you don't have to worry about the mousetrap snapping on your finger at 2 a.m. 4. Cardiovascular health. Some longitudinal research suggests cat owners have a lower risk of heart disease. The calming effect of a cat's presence may help lower blood pressure and reduce the risk of stroke. Of course, this isn't a substitute for a balanced diet and exercise, but it's a nice bonus. 5. Social connection. Cats are great icebreakers. Take a cat to a park, and you'll instantly become a conversation magnet. Cat lovers often bond over shared stories of, "My cat did the funniest thing," a social glue that can be especially valuable in digital communities. 6. Entertainment and humor. Cats are natural comedians. From the classic zoomies at 3 a.m. to the inexplicable fascination with a cardboard box that's clearly too small, cats provide endless laughs. Their antics have made the internet a richer place, and watching a cat fall off a table and then look at you as if you were the one who pushed them is a universal source of joy. 7. Teaching responsibility. For families with children, caring for a cat offers a low-stakes introduction to responsibility. Feeding, grooming, and cleaning the litter box. It can be a stepping stone to larger pets, or later in life to caring for other living beings. So whether you're looking for a therapist that purrs, a tiny security guard, or just a furry roommate who judges your cooking, cats deliver in spades. If this deep dive into cats has sparked your curiosity, make sure to subscribe for more videos that unpack the science, history, and quirks of the animals we share our planet with. Hit like, share with a friend who'd love a cat fact, and join our community of animal enthusiasts. Until next time, keep those whiskers twitching. Bonus fact. Now let's circle back to a part of cat history that's rarely discussed, but has massive implications: the Black Death. Here's the surprising footnote no one expects. The very cats that were blamed for witchcraft may have inadvertently helped cause the Black Death. Between 1346 and 1353, the Black Death swept through Europe, killing an estimated 30 to 60% of the population. The primary culprit was the bacterium Yersinia pestis, spread by fleas that infested rats. Here's where cats come in. During the early medieval period, especially after the church's anti-cat campaigns, European cat populations plummeted. With fewer cats, rat numbers surged, rats being the primary hosts for the fleas that transmitted the plague. Some historians argue that the decline of cats inadvertently facilitated the rapid spread of the disease. In other words, the persecution of cats may have amplified one of the deadliest pandemics in human history. It's a stark reminder that the relationship between humans and cats is more than just cute selfies. Sometimes the fate of empires can hinge on a small, furry predator. See you next time. Imagine you're strolling through a park on a crisp autumn morning. The leaves are gold, the coffee is warm, and suddenly, zoom, a blur of fur whips across the path, darts up a tree, and vanishes behind a canopy of branches. You blink, you smile, and you think, what on earth was that? That, my curious friends, is a squirrel, a creature that has managed to turn the mundane act of nut gathering into a full-blown Olympic sport, a master of acrobatics, and frankly, a tiny furry comedian who's been stealing the show since the dawn of forests. But wait, what exactly is a squirrel? Why does it have that gloriously fluffy tail? And why do some of them look like they've just stepped out of a 1970s fur coat, while others look like they've been hitting the gym? Stick around, because we're about to crack open the secret life of the sciurid family, reveal the shocking differences between red and grey squirrels, and discover how these bushy-tailed wonders survive, thrive, and occasionally drive us a little nuts. Description: what it is. Let's start with the basics. A squirrel is a rodent. Yes, a rodent. Same family as your friendly neighborhood rat, but with a lot more style. Squirrelidae, the scientific clan, includes tree squirrels, ground squirrels, chipmunks, and even the enigmatic flying squirrels. They're characterized by a slender body, large expressive eyes, and that iconic tail that could double as a personal parachute or a fashion statement. Their fur can be a rainbow of hues, from rusty reds and soft grays to sleek blacks, and in some exotic locales, a striking white that makes them look like they've been dipped in frosting. But the most recognizable trait? That tail. It's not just for show, it acts as a counterbalance when they leap from branch to branch, a blanket when the temperature drops, and a visual beacon that says, "Hey, I'm over here, follow the fluff." Squirrels are obligate herbivores, but don't let that label fool you. They have a varied diet that would make a nutritionist weep with joy. Acorns, hazelnuts, pine cones, berries, fungi, and occasionally a juicy insect or two when protein cravings hit. They are meticulous hoarders, burying thousands of nuts across their territory, a behavior called scatter hoarding. This isn't just a quirky hobby, it's a vital ecological service. By forgetting where they stashed a few seeds, they inadvertently plant entire forests. Talk about an accidental gardener. Physically, squirrels are built for speed. Their hind limbs are longer than their front ones, giving them a powerful spring. Their ankles can rotate a whooping 180 degrees, allowing them to descend trees head first, a skill that would make any parkour enthusiast jealous. Their teeth never stop growing, much like a perpetually remodeling DIY project, and they keep them in check by gnawing on hard shells. In short, they are the ultimate survivalists wrapped in a cute, fluffy package. Red versus Gray, the Great Squirrel Showdown. Now let's talk about the most iconic rivalry in the squirrel world, the red squirrel versus the gray squirrel. Think of them as the Batman and the Joker of the forest. Same genus, but polar opposite personalities and fashion choices. Red squirrels, Sciurus vulgaris, the original, are the native Europeans, sporting a rust red coat that fades to a cream-colored belly. They're smaller, sleeker, and have those trademark tufted ears that give them an air of aristocratic elegance. Their tail is slightly less flamboyant, but don't be fooled. It still works over time as a balance aid and a mood ring. Well, mood tail. Red squirrels are hyperactive, constantly on the move, and they have a particular fondness for conifer seeds. Gray squirrels, Sciurus carolinensis, the invaders, are the North American cousins that made a bold fashion statement when they landed in Europe in the late 19th century. They're larger, with a plush grey-brown coat that sometimes shows a subtle hint of white on the belly. Their tails are bushier, almost like a fluffy plume you'd see on a 1920s flapper. Grey squirrels are more adaptable, comfortable in urban parks, and they've developed a taste for a wider menu, including acorns and even human leftovers, looking at you picnickers. But the differences go beyond looks. Red squirrels are solitary by nature, defending a small territory with fierce determination. Grey squirrels, on the other hand, are more social, forming loose colonies and sharing space with surprising tolerance. Behaviorally, reds are more vocal. They'll chatter, scold, and even do a little tail flag dance to warn off intruders. Greys are more laid back, preferring to stash food in hidden caches rather than broadcasting their location. Ecologically, the grey squirrel has become something of a bully. In the UK, for instance, the non-native grey has outcompeted the native red, partly because greys are more efficient at fat storage and can eat a broader diet. This competition has led to a dramatic decline in red squirrel populations, prompting conservation efforts and even legal protection in some regions. So next time you see a grey squirrel lounging on a park bench, give a nod to its more endangered cousin. Life cycle, from nut to nut lover. Let's follow a squirrel from birth to, well, the inevitable encounter with a hungry hawk. It's a tale of drama, danger, and occasional cuteness overload. Mating season. In temperate zones, the squirrel romance usually kicks off in late winter. Males called bucks become roamers, sniffing out females' does in estrus. The chase is nothing short of a slapstick comedy. Dozens of males racing up trees, leaping across branches, and sometimes crashing into each other in a flurry of fur. The females are picky. They'll often allow the most vigorous, or perhaps the most persistent, suitor to win. Gestation and birth. After a brief pregnancy of about 38 to 45 days, the female gives birth to a litter of 2 to 6 hairless blind kittens. Yes, they're called kittens, not pups. The nest, called a dray, is a cozy affair of leaves, twigs, and moss, tucked into a tree cavity or a leafy arboreal pad. For the first few weeks, the mother nurses her young, keeping them warm and safe. The father, being the typical rodent dad, usually bows out after mating, leaving the mother to handle all the parenting duties. Juvenile stage. By around 6 weeks, the kittens open their eyes and start exploring the nest. They begin nibbling on solid food, soft seeds, berries, and the occasional tender leaf. Their mother teaches them the art of foraging, showing them where the richest nut patches are and how to evade predators. This training is crucial. The world is full of dangers, from hawks and foxes to domestic cats, and the occasional over-enthusiastic dog. Maturation. At about 3 to 4 months, the young squirrels strike out on their own, establishing their own home ranges. They'll spend the next several months perfecting their navigation skills, learning to locate hidden caches, and mastering the high wire act of tree-to-tree travel. Lifespan. In the wild, a squirrel's life is a roller coaster. Most live only 2 to 4 years, but with a bit of luck, fewer predators, abundant food, they can push up to 6 or even 10 years. In captivity, they've been known to celebrate their 12th birthday, though that's rarer than a golden retriever at a cat cafe. Reproduction. Squirrels can produce 1 to 2 litters per year, depending on the climate. In more temperate zones, they may have 2 litters, one in early spring, another in late summer. This prolific reproduction is part of what makes them such a successful species, although it also means they're constantly battling for resources. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the world of squirrels, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the What Is channel. Stick around. More fascinating facts are just around the corner. Next, let's look at where squirrels call home. Habitat, where the squirreling happens. If you think squirrels are just park-dwelling fluffballs, think again. These critters have colonized everything from dense hardwood forests to bustling city parks, and even the occasional suburban backyard. Forested homes. The classic tree squirrel's habitat is a mix of deciduous and coniferous forests. They love oak, beech, and hickory for the bounty of nuts, and conifers for shelter. A mature forest provides a perfect balance: abundant food, suitable nesting sites, and a network of branches for the squirrel's high-speed pursuits. Urban jungles. Cities have become unexpected sanctuaries. Parks, gardens, and even rooftop balconies become hunting grounds. Urban squirrels have learned to navigate traffic, crack open bird feeders, and, much to the delight of city kids, perform daring leaps between buildings. Their adaptability is a testament to their resourcefulness. They'll nest in anything from tree hollows to abandoned building corners. Ground-dwelling relatives. Let's not forget the ground squirrels, chipmunks, marmots, and prairie dogs. They prefer open habitats, grasslands, meadows, and rocky outcrops. They burrow elaborate tunnel systems, creating underground cities that can stretch for meters. These ground dwellers are more social, living in colonies and sharing the workload of excavation. Geographic range. Squirrels are practically global. The red squirrel roams Europe and northern Asia. The grey squirrel dominates North America and has been introduced to parts of Europe, South Africa, and even Japan. There are over 280 species worldwide, each tailored to its own niche. From the tiny African pygmy squirrel to the robust Siberian flying squirrel, there's a squirrel for every climate and continent. Population and status. Squirrels by the numbers. Let's talk numbers, because what's a wildlife story without a little data to chew on? Global estimates. It's tricky to get an exact count, given their secretive nature and wide range, but scientists estimate there are anywhere from 2 to 5 billion squirrels worldwide. That's more than the entire human population of Europe. Red squirrel. In the UK, the red squirrel population has been in decline for decades. Current estimates place them at roughly 15,000 to 20,000 individuals, mainly concentrated in Scotland, northern England, and a few isolated pockets in Ireland. In mainland Europe, numbers are healthier, but still vulnerable, especially in areas where grey squirrels have taken over. Grey squirrel. Conversely, the grey squirrel is abundant in North America, with estimates in the hundreds of millions. In the UK alone, there are thought to be over 5 million greys, an army of bushy-tailed invaders that have outcompeted the reds in many regions. Conservation status, the IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature, lists the red squirrel as endangered in parts of its range, while the grey squirrel is classified as least concern, a classic case of the invasive species thriving at the expense of the native. Human impact, habitat loss, road mortality, and competition from invasive species are the biggest threats to squirrel populations. However, squirrels have also benefited from human feeders, especially in winter, and from the increase of urban green spaces. Their population dynamics are a vivid reminder of how quickly nature can shift when we alter the playing field. Interesting factoid. Squirrels can remember the location of thousands of hidden nuts. Some studies suggest they can recall up to 5,000 caches. That's a memory that would make any to-do list jealous. Squirrels in pop culture. Let's pause for a chuckle. Squirrels have a habit of popping up in our lives in the most unexpected ways. In the classic cartoon Chip and Dale, two mischievous chipmunks constantly outwit Donald Duck, a perfect example of squirrel mischief. The internet's Squirrel Girl is an Avengers-level superhero who once defeated an entire army of supervillains, proving that even a tiny rodent can be a force to reckon with. And who can forget the viral video of a squirrel stealing a whole pizza slice right off a New York street vendor's table? That's a crime of opportunity that would make any pickpocket proud. Squirrels also have a surprisingly rich symbolic history. In Native American folklore, the squirrel is often a messenger of alertness and preparation, traits we can all admire. In Celtic mythology, the squirrel represented the soul's journey between worlds, a tiny psychopomp hopping through the forest of life. These moments of humor and cultural resonance remind us that squirrels aren't just ecological actors, they're part of our collective imagination. So what is a squirrel? It's a rodent, an acrobat, a hoarder, a gardener, and a comedic sidekick all rolled into one fluffy package. From the rusty red of the European forests to the sleek grey of the North American parks, from their astonishing memory for hidden nuts to their daring treetop chases, squirrels are a testament to nature's endless creativity. Next time you see that twitchy tail zooming past, pause, smile, and appreciate the tiny marvel bouncing through your neighborhood. And remember, every acorn they bury could become the oak of tomorrow. If you loved this deep dive into the world of squirrels, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more What Is episodes. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new adventure. And if you have a quirky squirrel story of your own, drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Picture a creature that's part treadmill, part tank, and part therapy cat, except it's a giant four-legged, hay-munching enigma that somehow convinced humanity to let it carry us into battle, pull our plows, and win our horse races. That, my friends, is a horse. By scientific definition, a horse, Equus ferus caballus, is a large herbivorous mammal belonging to the family Equidae. It's a domesticated subspecies of the wild horse, and if you've ever tried to explain the concept of the horse to a 5-year-old, you probably said something like, "It's like a really big dog that eats grass and runs really fast," and then you added, "and it doesn't fetch." Now, before we dive into the nitty-gritty of hooves, manes, and the mysterious art of naysaying, let's clear up a common misconception. A horse is not just a big cow with a bad haircut. They're built for speed, stamina, and perhaps most importantly, for looking dignified while they're being photographed at weddings. What it is, the anatomy of a horse. Let's start with the basics. A typical adult horse stands about 1.4 to 1.8 meters, 4.5 to 6 feet, at the shoulder, weighs anywhere from 380 to 1,000 kilograms, 840 to 2,200 pounds, and possesses a skeletal system made up of about 205 bones. That's roughly the same number of bones as a human, except a horse's bones are arranged to support a creature that can sprint at 70 kilometers per hour, 45 miles per hour. Their large eyes, perched on the sides of their head, give them a near 360-degree field of vision, great for spotting predators, and also for seeing when you're sneaking a carrot from the kitchen. The horse's digestive system is a marvel of evolutionary engineering. It's a non-ruminant herbivore, meaning it eats roughage and ferments it in a massive cecum that acts like a fermentation vat. In plain English, they can turn a field of grass into energy, and they do it while standing on 4 legs, which is frankly impressive. And then there's the mane and tail. The mane is not just a fashion statement, though it does give each horse a unique hairdo. It helps swat flies, provides warmth, and in the wild can even serve as a built-in blanket. The tail, meanwhile, is a multi-tool. It can be a fly swatter, a balance aid, and when swished dramatically, a signal that the horse is either happy or about to kick a fly that's been particularly rude. Life cycle, from tiny hoof to senior steed. A horse's life begins, as all great stories do, with a moment of intense drama. Mating. Mares, female horses, have a gestation period of about 11 months, roughly the same time it takes a human to decide what to watch on Netflix. When the foal arrives, it's a wobbly, fluffy bundle of curiosity that can stand within an hour and run within a day. This rapid development is a survival trait. In the wild, a foal that can't keep up with the herd becomes a snack. The first year, called a yearling, is a period of rapid growth. The horse's bones, muscles, and ligaments are all developing at breakneck speed, which is why proper nutrition is crucial. Think of it as the equine version of the milk and vegetables phase, but with a lot more hay. By the age of 2, many horses are already being trained for riding or driving. By 4, they're considered adults, and by 5, they're in their prime, ready to compete, work, or simply look majestic in a pasture. A horse's lifespan averages 25 to 30 years, though some lucky equines have lived into their 40s. Senior horses, often affectionately called oldies but goodies, require special care. Softer feed, regular dental checkups, and a comfortable spot to nap in the sun. They may slow down, but they still possess that timeless charm that makes us humans keep bringing them apples. If you're enjoying galloping through this exploration of horses, be sure to give this video a like. It really helps the channel. Next, domestication. How we convinced a wild animal to be our best friend. The story of horse domestication is a tale of mutual benefit, clever strategy, and possibly a little bit of, "You scratch my back, I'll let you ride me." The earliest evidence points to the Botai culture in present-day Kazakhstan, around 3500 BCE, where people began keeping horses for milk, meat, and possibly transportation. Why did we bother? Simple. Horses offered speed, strength, and a relatively calm demeanor, most of the time. They could carry us across vast distances, pull heavy loads, and when necessary, serve as a rather convincing substitute for a tank in the ancient warfare. The invention of the wheel, paired with the horse, gave us the first true horsepower, a term we still use today, albeit in a more metaphorical sense. As humans spread across continents, we bred horses to suit different climates and tasks. The sturdy Arabian, bred for desert endurance, became the ancestor of many modern riding breeds. The massive Clydesdale, originally a farm horse, evolved into the iconic heavy draft animal that now pulls carriages and stars in beer commercials. Meanwhile, the diminutive Shetland pony was developed to survive the harsh Scottish Islands, proving that size isn't everything. But domestication wasn't just about physical traits, it also shaped behavior. Through selective breeding, we encouraged traits like docility, willingness to work, and a tolerance for humans sitting on their backs. In return, we gave them shelter, food, and the occasional grooming session that, let's be honest, feels like a spa day for a horse. Roll through history. From warhorse to racehorse. If horses had a LinkedIn profile, their work history would read like a blockbuster movie script. In ancient warfare, the horse was the original tank. The Assyrians, Persians, Greeks, and Romans all relied on cavalry to dominate battlefields. The famous war horse of the Middle Ages, often a destrier, was bred for strength, courage, and a surprising degree of stamina. These horses could charge into the fray, trample opponents, and perhaps most impressively, look noble while doing so. Beyond war, horses powered the agricultural revolution. Pulling plows, hauling wagons, and transporting goods, they were the engine of pre-industrial economies. In the 19th century, the United States alone had millions of work horses, their hooves pounding out a rhythm on dirt roads as they moved everything from timber to mail. Then came the railway, the automobile, and the tractor, machines that for a while made the horse seem obsolete. Yet the horse found new niches. The sport of horse racing exploded in popularity, giving rise to thoroughbreds that can run faster than a cheetah on a good day. Equestrian events, dressage, show jumping, eventing became Olympic sports, showcasing the partnership between human and horse. In the early 20th century, horses also became icons of law enforcement. Mounted police units patrolled city streets, their horses providing a calming presence and a mobile platform for officers. Even today, some police forces maintain horse units for crowd control and community outreach, because nothing says, "Please obey the law," quite like a 500-kilogram animal with a shiny coat. Present day, from pasture to therapy barn. In the 21st century, the horse's role has evolved into something far more nuanced. While the days of horsepower as a primary source of mechanical energy are over, horses now thrive in sports, recreation, therapy, and even conservation. Recreational riding, whether trail riding, western riding, or English riding, remains a beloved pastime for millions. In the United States alone, there are roughly 7.3 million horses used for recreational purposes, and the equestrian industry generates billions of dollars annually. Therapeutic riding, often called hippotherapy, harnesses the gentle, rhythmic movement of horses to help individuals with physical, emotional, and cognitive challenges. The warmth and movement of a horse can improve balance, coordination, and confidence in ways that traditional therapy sometimes cannot. There's something uniquely comforting about a creature that doesn't judge, doesn't talk back, and occasionally nudges you for a treat. Wild horse populations have also become a symbol of conservation. In places like the American West, mustangs roam public lands, drawing both admiration and controversy. Debates about population management, land use, and the ecological impact of feral horses continue, but their presence reminds us of the deep connection between humans and these animals. And let's not forget the humble horse-related content on the internet. From cute foal videos to horse fails compilations, the digital world has embraced the horse as a source of endless entertainment. It's a creature that can go from majestic stallion to dorky pony doing a wiggle in a single clip. Future, what lies ahead for the horse? As we look ahead, the horse faces both challenges and opportunities. Climate change, land development, and shifting attitudes toward animal welfare are prompting the equestrian world to rethink how we care for and use horses. One emerging trend is sustainable horsemanship. This includes practices like regenerative grazing, which helps restore soil health, and using horses for low-impact ecotourism. Think guided trail rides that leave no carbon footprint other than a few well-placed hoofprints. Advances in veterinary medicine and genetics are also shaping the future. Genetic testing can now identify predispositions to certain diseases, allowing owners to provide proactive care. Researchers are exploring gene editing techniques to preserve breed diversity and potentially reduce hereditary conditions, though ethical considerations remain a hot topic. There's also a growing interest in horse-human programs that focus on mental health, youth development, and even corporate team building. The therapeutic power of horses is being studied in rigorous scientific settings, and the results are promising. In a world that's increasingly digital, the horse remains a tangible, living link to our past and a hopeful partner for the future. Whether they're helping us heal, compete, or simply remind us to slow down and enjoy a moment of grazing, horses continue to inspire awe. If you've enjoyed this trot through the world of horses, give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more deep dives into science, history, animals, and more. If you want to watch more of our animal videos, the playlist is linked above. Now, before we wrap up, here's a bonus fact. Here's something that you probably haven't heard. Horses can't vomit. That's right. Due to a powerful one-way valve between their stomach and esophagus, a horse's digestive system is a one-way street. It's a quirk that makes them unique among mammals and adds a whole new level of respect for the humble hay bale. Thanks for watching. See you next time. If you've ever stared at a pasture and wondered whether those big, placid beasts are just four-legged lawnmowers with a chronic case of "I could eat the whole field" syndrome, you're not alone. Imagine a creature that spends up to 8 hours a day chewing, regurgitating, and re-chewing the same mouthful of grass. Basically a bovine version of a Zen monk who's also a competitive eater. Cows are the unsung heroes of the dairy aisle, the backbone of the burger joint, and, let's be honest, the occasional source of inexplicable moos at 3 a.m. that make you question your life choices. Today we're diving deep into the other-life fascinating world of Bos taurus. No, not the bullish kind of boss, but the actual scientific name for domestic cattle. We're about to milk every fact for all it's worth. Pun absolutely intended. Taxonomy and basic definition. Scientifically, a cow is an adult female of the species Bos taurus that has given birth to at least one calf. Males are called bulls, young females are heifers, and castrated males are steers. While cow colloquially refers to any bovine, the precise term hinges on reproductive status. Taxonomically, cows belong to the family Bovidae, subfamily Bovinae, which also includes buffalo, yaks, and antelopes. Their evolutionary lineage splits from the wild aurochs, Bos primigenius, around 10,000 years ago, when humans first began to tame these massive herbivores in the Fertile Crescent. So when you see a cow grazing peacefully, you're looking at a living descendant of an animal that once roamed the Eurasian steppes with horns that could rival a medieval lance. Anatomy. The built-for-grass machine. Let's talk anatomy, because a cow's body is basically a high-efficiency grass processing factory. At roughly 1,400 to 1,600 pounds for a typical Holstein, the cow's skeleton is built to support a massive digestive tract rather than speed. Their skull houses a wide set of molars, flat ridged teeth perfect for grinding fibrous plant material. Unlike humans, cows lack upper incisors. Instead, they have a tough dental pad against which the lower incisors pinch grass, pulling it into the mouth. The real star of the show, however, is the stomach, specifically the four-chambered ruminant stomach. The rumen, reticulum, omasum, and abomasum. Think of it as a four-step fermentation pipeline. The rumen, a vat holding up to 50 gallons of fluid, hosts billions of microbes, bacteria, protozoa, and fungi that break down cellulose, a carbohydrate that most mammals can't digest. The reticulum acts as a filter, trapping large particles and sending them back to the rumen for another chew. The omasum absorbs water and nutrients, while the abomasum functions like a true stomach, secreting acids and enzymes to finish protein digestion. This complex system lets cows extract energy from grass that would otherwise pass straight through a human gut unchanged. The rumination process. Chew, regurgitate, repeat. Now the infamous chewing the cud. After a cow swallows a mouthful of grass, it heads straight to the rumen, where microbes start fermenting it. Periodically, the cow contracts its rumen to push a bolus of partially digested lump of semi-digested material back up into the mouth. This is regurgitation, not vomiting. It's a controlled rhythmic process that allows the cow to re-chew the cud, further breaking down plant cell walls. A cow may spend up to 8 hours a day ruminating, which is why you often see them looking eerily contemplative while they chew. If humans tried this, we'd spend our workday chewing on a burrito, spitting it out and chewing again. Hardly conducive to productivity, but apparently perfect for bovine bliss. Digestive efficiency and methane production. All that microbial fermentation comes with a side effect: gas. As microbes break down cellulose, they produce volatile fatty acids that the cow absorbs for energy, but they also generate methane, CH4, as a byproduct. A single cow can emit between 250 and 500 liters of methane per day, roughly the volume of a large refrigerator. While methane is a potent greenhouse gas, it's also a sign that the cow's rumen is doing its job. Researchers are exploring feed additives like seaweed, tannins, and essential oils to reduce methane emissions without compromising milk or meat yield. It's a classic case of you can't have your grass and eat it too. Except in this case, we're trying to have the grass and curb the emissions. Breeds. From Holstein to Highland. Not all cows are created equal, and the world boasts over 800 recognized breeds, each shaped by geography, climate, and human purpose. The Holstein Friesian, with its iconic black and white patches, is the dairy champion, capable of producing over 22,000 pounds of milk per year. Jerseys, smaller and fawn-colored, give richer milk with higher butterfat, perfect for gourmet cheeses. On the beef side, Angus cattle are prized for marbling, while Charolais bring muscular heft. Then there are the hardy heritage breeds like the Scottish Highland, whose long hair and sweeping horns make them look like they stepped out of a Viking saga, built to thrive in harsh, cold climates. Each breed represents a compromise between milk yield, meat quality, adaptability, and temperament, proof that humans have been playing bovine matchmaker for millennia. Life cycle. From calf to cow. A cow's life begins after a gestation of roughly 9 months. Similar to humans, a newborn calf weighs between 60 and 100 pounds and can stand within an hour, a crucial survival trait in the wild. Calves receive colostrum, the mother's first milk, packed with antibodies that protect them from disease. Weaning typically occurs at 6 to 8 months, after which the young bovine transitions to a diet of grass, hay, or silage. Heifers reach sexual maturity around 15 months, though many farms wait until they're about 2 years old before breeding, ensuring they're physically ready for pregnancy. A productive dairy cow may have a lactation cycle of 300 days, followed by a dry period of about 60 days before the next calf arrives. Over a typical lifespan of 4 to 6 lactations, roughly 6 to 8 years, a cow can produce tens of thousands of pounds of milk. Beef cattle, meanwhile, are often raised for 18 to 24 months before slaughter, though some specialty programs extend this to develop richer flavor. If you're finding this utterly entertaining, smash that like button and share the video with a friend who loves a good bovine tale, because sharing is caring, especially when it comes to spreading cowtastic knowledge. Milk production, the utterly amazing process. Let's milk the details, pun intended, on how a cow turns grass into that creamy latte you love. Milk synthesis occurs in the mammary glands, or udder, which is divided into 4 quarters. When a cow is stimulated by a calf suckling, a milking machine, or even a warm shower, oxytocin is released, causing the myoepithelial cells around the alveoli to contract and push milk into the milk sinuses and out through the teat. The composition of milk is roughly 87% water, 3.9% fat, 3.4% protein, 4.8% lactose, and 0.7% minerals. Factors influencing yield include genetics, nutrition, health, and even the cow's comfort. Stressed cows produce less milk. Modern dairies use automated milking systems that can milk a cow 3 times a day, tracking yield, conductivity, and even rumination time via collar sensors. It's a blend of animal husbandry and data science that would make a Silicon Valley engineer nod in approval. Beef, from pasture to plate. When a cow's destiny is the steakhouse rather than the milking parlor, the focus shifts to muscle development and fat deposition. Beef quality hinges on marbling, the intramuscular fat that gives steak its juicy, flavorful bite. Breeds like Angus and Wagyu have been genetically selected for high marbling, while feeding regimes, grain finishing versus grass finishing, affect both fat content and flavor profile. Grass-fed beef tends to be leaner with a more pronounced earthy taste, whereas grain-finished beef is richer and softer. Aging, either dry or wet, further concentrates flavor by allowing enzymes to break down muscle fibers. In the United States alone, over 30 billion pounds of beef are produced annually, making cattle a cornerstone of the global protein supply. Yet the environmental footprint of beef production, land use, water consumption, and greenhouse emissions has sparked a growing conversation about sustainable alternatives, from regenerative grazing to plant-based imitations. Cultural significance, more than just meat and milk. Cows have trotted through human mythology, religion, and everyday life for millennia. In Hinduism, the cow is revered as a symbol of non-violence, motherhood, and abundance. Many Hindus abstain from beef as a sign of respect. Ancient Egyptians associated the cow goddess Hathor with love, music, and fertility. In European folklore, cows often appear in tales of fertility and prosperity. Think of the magic cow that provides endless milk. Even modern idioms betray bovine influence. Holy cow expresses surprise. Cow-ardly denotes timidity, though ironically, cows are surprisingly bold when defending their calves. And until the cows come home implies an indefinite wait. In agriculture, cows have shaped landscapes, pastures, barns, and the very layout of rural communities. Their presence is so ingrained that a drive through the Midwest feels incomplete without a slow-moving herd silhouetted against the sunset. Environmental impact and sustainable practices. It's impossible to discuss cows without acknowledging their environmental hoofprint. As mentioned, methane from enteric fermentation is a potent greenhouse gas, about 28 times more effective at trapping heat than CO2 over a 100-year span. Additionally, beef production demands significant land, roughly 20 square meters of grazing area per kilogram of live weight, not counting the feed crops grown to supplement diets. Water usage is also high. Producing 1 kilogram of beef can consume upwards of 15,000 liters of water when you factor in feed growth, processing, and cleaning. However, not all cattle systems are equal. Extensive grazing on marginal lands can promote biodiversity, sequester carbon in soils, and upcycle plant material humans can't eat. Practices like rotational grazing, silvopasture, integrating trees with pasture, and manure management, capturing methane for biogas, are gaining traction. Moreover, improving feed efficiency through better genetics, precision nutrition, and additives can lower emissions per unit of milk or meat. The challenge lies in balancing the nutritional benefits cows provide with the planet's limits, a classic case of needing to have our steak and eat it sustainably. Fun and surprising cow facts. Before we wrap up, let's sprinkle in a few tidbits that might make you look at your next glass of milk with fresh awe. A cow's heart weighs about 5 pounds, roughly the size of a human head, and beats between 60 and 70 times per minute at rest. Cows have almost 360-degree vision. They can see everything around them except directly behind their heads, which explains why they often startle at sudden movements from the rear. The average cow produces enough milk each day to fill about 90 glasses, enough to keep a small cafe stocked for a morning rush. Cows are social animals. They form best friend bonds and can become stressed when separated from their preferred companions. A cow's nose is so sensitive it can detect odors up to 6 miles away, helpful for locating fresh pasture or sensing a predator. In 2018, a cow named Chili set a Guinness World Record for the most milk produced in a single day, 78.2 pounds, about 35.5 kilograms, from a Holstein in Wisconsin. Cows can sleep standing up, thanks to a stay apparatus that locks their legs, but they only achieve deep REM sleep when lying down, usually for about 30 minutes to 2 hours per night. The term cattle derives from the Old French cattle, meaning property or wealth, hence chattel in legal speak. Despite their size, cows are surprisingly agile. They can run up to 25 miles per hour when motivated, say by a tasty patch of clover or a sudden thunderstorm. The future of cows: tech, trends, and tomorrow. Looking ahead, the bovine world is poised for a high-tech makeover. Wearable sensors now monitor rumination, activity, and even body temperature, alerting farmers to health issues before they become costly problems. Genetic editing tools like CRISPR are being explored to develop hornless cattle, reducing injury risk, and to enhance feed efficiency. Vertical farms are experimenting with hydroponic forage that can be grown indoors year-round, reducing the land needed for feed. Meanwhile, consumer demand for transparency is pushing farms to adopt blockchain traceability, letting you scan a QR code on a milk carton and learn the exact farm, feed regimen, and milking time that produced your latte. In the realm of alternative proteins, cultured beef, grown from animal cells in a lab, aims to replicate the taste and texture of traditional steak without raising and slaughtering cattle. While still in early stages, the technology could one day alleviate some of the environmental pressures associated with large-scale livestock farming. Regardless of the path forward, the cow's role as a versatile converter of inedible plant material into high-quality nutrition remains unmatched, provided we manage it wisely. Thanks for sticking with us through this deep dive into the world of cows. If you enjoyed learning about their biology, breeds, and cultural quirks, please hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode of What Is. Your support keeps these fact-filled, fun-laden videos rolling, just like a cow's endless cud chewing session. Now for a final nugget that didn't make it into the main sections. Bonus fact: did you know that a cow's saliva contains a special enzyme called lactoperoxidase, which helps protect the udder from infection? This natural antimicrobial property is one reason why healthy cows can produce clean, safe milk, even in less than sterile conditions. The cow's saliva, when they're out in the pasture, constantly bathing their teats in an antibacterial rinse every time they chew their cud. Talk about a built-in udder guard. That's a wrap on today's exploration of what a cow truly is. From their four-stomach digestive marvel to their spot in human history, cows are far more than just pasture ornaments. They're remarkable, complex creatures that continue to shape our diets, cultures, and even our planet's health. Until next time, keep curious, stay kind to our bovine buddies, and remember, every time you enjoy a glass of milk or a juicy steak, you're tasting the legacy of millions of years of evolution, and a whole lot of chewing. See you next time. What if I told you that the humble chicken, the bird that graces our breakfast plates and struts across farmyards, is actually a living dinosaur with a surprising talent for solving puzzles, a secret language of over 30 distinct calls, and a legacy that stretches back farther than the pyramids? Stick around, because in the next few minutes, we're going to crack open the eggshell of ignorance and reveal what a chicken truly is. No yolks left unturned. Defining the chicken. Let's start with the basics. Scientifically, a chicken is Gallus gallus domesticus, a subspecies of the red jungle fowl native to Southeast Asia. It belongs to the order Galliformes, which also includes turkeys, quails, and pheasants. While we often think of chickens as farm animals, they are in fact birds, warm-blooded, feathered, egg-laying vertebrates with a beak, 2 legs, and a keen sense of sight. What sets them apart from other birds is not just their ubiquity on dinner tables, but their remarkable adaptability to human environments, a trait that has turned them into one of the most numerous terrestrial vertebrates on the planet, with an estimated global population exceeding 25 billion individuals. Evolutionary origins, from dino to drumstick. If you picture a chicken as a distant relative of the Tyrannosaurus rex, you're not far off. Birds are the only surviving lineage of theropod dinosaurs, the group that included fierce predators like Velociraptor and T-Rex. Around 150 million years ago, small feathered theropods began evolving traits that would eventually give rise to modern birds: lighter bones, a fused clavicle forming the wishbone, and a high metabolism lifestyle. The red jungle fowl, the wild ancestor of our domestic chicken, appeared roughly 8,000 to 10,000 years ago in the forests of Thailand, Vietnam, and southern China. Early humans likely first encountered these birds while foraging, noting their tasty meat and prolific egg-laying, 2 qualities that would soon make them prime candidates for domestication. Anatomy and physiology. More than just a pair of wings. Let's take a quick tour under the feathers. A chicken's skeleton is a marvel of lightweight engineering. Its bones are pneumatic, meaning they're filled with air sacs that connect to the respiratory system, reducing weight while maintaining strength, crucial for a bird that needs to burst into flight when threatened, even if most domesticated strains prefer a leisurely waddle. The muscular system is dominated by the powerful pectoralis muscles, which make up about 15 to 20% of body mass and drive the wing's downstroke. Though modern broilers have been bred for massive breast meat, their wings remain capable of short, explosive bursts, enough to flap over a low fence or escape a pursuing predator. The chicken's digestive tract is equally impressive. Lacking teeth, it relies on a muscular gizzard to grind food, often aided by swallowed grit or small stones. Food passes from the crop, a storage pouch, to the proventriculus, where enzymes begin digestion, then to the gizzard, and finally through the intestines. This efficient system allows chickens to convert a wide variety of feed, grains, insects, kitchen scraps, into body mass, with a feed-to-meat ratio that rivals many livestock species. And then there's the famous comb and wattles. These fleshy vascular structures act as radiators, helping the bird dissipate heat, a vital adaptation for a creature that can generate considerable metabolic heat during rapid growth or active foraging. In roosters, a large bright comb also serves as a visual signal of health and vigor, influencing mate selection and social hierarchy. Behavior and social life, the chicken's secret society. Now let's talk chicken psychology. Contrary to the cliché of the bird brain, chickens demonstrate surprisingly sophisticated cognitive abilities. They can recognize over 100 individual faces, both of their own kind and humans, remembering who's friendly and who's a threat for weeks at a time. Experiments have shown that chickens can understand object permanence, knowing that a hidden item still exists, demonstrate self-control in delayed gratification tasks, and even exhibit empathy-like responses when they see a fellow bird in distress. Socially, chickens live in hierarchies known as pecking orders, a term that actually originated from observing these birds. Each flock establishes a linear ranking where dominant birds enjoy first access to food, prime roosting spots, and mating opportunities, while subordinates learn to avoid conflict by yielding. This order is maintained through subtle. It's reinforced by a repertoire of vocalizations and body language. Researchers have identified at least 30 distinct calls, ranging from the familiar cluck of contentment to alarm calls that warn of aerial predators, and even a specific food call that summons flockmates to a newly discovered bounty. And yes, chickens do have a sense of humor. Well, at least they appear to enjoy playful behavior. Chicks often engage in tidy-up games, pecking at shiny objects, and adults have been observed indulging in dust-bathing rituals that look suspiciously like a spa day. Some owners report their chickens learning simple tricks, like pecking a target for a treat, or even responding to their names, proof that beneath those feathers lies a mind eager to learn. If you're finding this feather-filled journey as fascinating as a chicken finding a worm, smash that like button, slap the subscribe, and share this video with a friend who thinks chickens are just bird-brained. Your support helps us bring more deep dives into the everyday wonders of our world. Now let's keep scratching the surface. Domestication and human interaction, from forest fowl to farm staple. The journey from jungle fowl to the chickens we know today began thousands of years ago, likely in multiple regions across Southeast Asia and the Indian subcontinent. Archaeological evidence, including chicken bones dating back to 5400 BCE in China and 3000 BCE in the Indus Valley, suggests that early humans first kept these birds for their eggs and occasional meat, as well as for ritual purposes. In many ancient cultures, the rooster's crow was associated with the sunrise, making it a potent symbol of vigilance and rebirth. As agriculture spread, so did the chicken. By the time of the Egyptian New Kingdom, circa 1500 BCE, chickens had appeared in the Nile Delta, likely brought via trade routes. The Romans embraced them wholeheartedly, breeding for larger size and better egg production, and even wrote treatises on poultry husbandry. Pliny the Elder noted their usefulness in pest control, as chickens eagerly devour insects that threaten crops. During the Middle Ages, chickens became a staple of peasant households across Europe, valued for their ability to turn kitchen scraps into protein. The age of exploration carried them to the New World. Spanish conquistadors introduced chickens to the Americas in the 1500s, where they quickly integrated into indigenous farming systems. The real transformation, however, came in the 20th century with the advent of industrial agriculture. Selective breeding programs focused on two main trajectories: layers, optimized for egg output — some modern hybrids lay over 300 eggs per year — and broilers, bred for rapid growth and massive breast muscle, reaching market weight in just 5 to 6 weeks. These advances turned the chicken into the most efficient land-based protein source on the planet, feeding billions and shaping modern diets. Yet with this efficiency came ethical debates. Concerns about welfare in confined animal feeding operations, CAFOs, have spurred movements toward free-range, pasture-raised, and even regenerative poultry practices that aim to restore the bird's natural behaviors: scratching, dust bathing, and foraging, while still meeting market demands. Chickens in culture and humor, more than just a cluck. Beyond the coop, chickens have strutted their way into humanity's stories, jokes, and art. In folklore, the rooster often appears as a guardian against evil spirits. Its crow at dawn was believed to dispel darkness. In Chinese mythology, the rooster is one of the 12 zodiac animals, symbolizing fidelity and punctuality. In Western humor, the chicken has become a punchline magnet. Think, why did the chicken cross the road? The answer, of course, is to get to the other side, but the joke's endurance reveals how we project human motives onto this simple act of movement. Comedians have riffed on chicken nervousness, their tendency to panic in flocks, and the absurd image of a chicken trying to navigate a bustling city street. Chickens have also starred in cinema and television. Who could forget the chaotic feather-filled antics of Chicken Run, the stop-motion masterpiece where a band of plucky hens engineers a daring escape from a farm? Or the iconic Foghorn Leghorn cartoons, where a bombastic rooster delivers southern fried wisdom with a drawl. Even in literature, chickens appear as symbols, from the sacrificial hen in Shirley Jackson's The Lottery to the resilient bird in Toni Morrison's Song of Solomon, representing both vulnerability and tenacity. And let's not forget the culinary world's love affair with the chicken. From French coq au vin to American buffalo wings, Indian chicken tikka masala to Japanese yakitori, the bird's mild flavor and versatile texture have made it a global canvas for chefs. In fact, the United States alone consumes roughly 8 billion pounds of chicken each year, enough to fill over 1,300 Olympic-sized swimming pools if you turn the meat into broth. All of this cultural penetration underscores a simple truth. The chicken is not just a source of protein, it's a character in our collective narrative, a feathered foil for our jokes, and a testament to how deeply intertwined human and animal histories can be. The modern poultry industry, feeding a hungry planet. Today, the chicken industry is a marvel of logistics, science, and economics. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, global chicken meat production surpassed 120 million metric tons in 2023, while egg production exceeded 86 million metric tons. The top producers, United States, China, Brazil, and the European Union, account for over half of this output, supported by sophisticated supply chains that span breeding farms, hatcheries, grow-out houses, processing plants, and distribution networks. Modern breeding relies on genomic selection, where scientists analyze DNA markers to predict traits like growth rate, feed efficiency, disease resistance, and egg quality. This accelerates genetic gain far beyond what traditional pedigree-based methods could achieve. As a result, broiler chickens today convert feed to meat at a ratio of about 1.6 to 1, meaning 1.6 kilograms of feed yields roughly 1 kilogram of live weight, an improvement of nearly 50% compared to birds from the 1950s. Layer hens, meanwhile, have been pushed to lay up to 340 eggs per year under optimal conditions, thanks to advances in lighting programs, nutrition, and health management. Automated egg collection systems, climate-controlled barns, and real-time monitoring sensors help farmers maintain optimal environments, reducing stress and maximizing productivity. Sustainability efforts are also gaining traction. Researchers are exploring alternative feeds, such as insect protein, algae, and food processing byproducts, to lessen the reliance on soy and corn, which have significant land use footprints. Manure management techniques convert chicken litter into biofuel or fertilizer, closing nutrient loops. Some producers are adopting slow-grow broiler strains that, while taking longer to reach market weight, exhibit better welfare outcomes and produce meat with a different texture profile favored by niche markets. Consumer demand is shifting too. Labels like free-range, pasture-raised, organic, and antibiotic-free now occupy significant shelf space, reflecting a growing awareness of animal welfare and environmental impact. In response, many large-scale operators are investing in enriched housing systems that provide perches, pecking objects, and access to outdoor runs, striving to balance efficiency with the bird's natural behaviors. All of this illustrates that the chicken, far from being a simple farmyard creature, sits at the nexus of technology, economics, ethics, and culture. A tiny dinosaur that continues to shape the modern world in ways we are only beginning to fully grasp. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the world of chickens, from their dinosaur roots to their role in feeding billions, please show your love by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and ringing the notification bell so you never miss another fascinating What Is episode. Share this with anyone who's ever wondered why the chicken crossed the road, or who simply enjoys a good feathery fact. Drop a comment below with your favorite chicken-related memory, joke, or recipe. We love reading your stories and might feature them in a future video. Thank you for watching, and remember, the next time you see a chicken, you're looking at a living piece of prehistoric history, a social genius, and a culinary superstar, all wrapped in a feathered package. Bonus fact. And now, for a bonus nugget that didn't make it into the main script. Did you know that chickens can dream? Studies using electroencephalogram, EEG recordings, have shown that chickens experience rapid eye movement, REM sleep, the stage associated with dreaming in mammals, suggesting they might replay the day's adventures, imagine foraging for tasty bugs, or even rehearse escaping a predator while they snooze. So the next time you see a chicken twitching its feet in its sleep, it might just be chasing a dreamy worm across a moonlit coop. Sweet dreams, little dinosaur. See you next time. You think you know what a sheep is. You don't. What you're picturing right now, that soft white cotton ball animal standing in a green field, doing nothing, thinking less, that animal doesn't exist in nature. It never has. It was built. Every fluffy, defenseless, faintly ridiculous sheep on the planet right now is a piece of biological engineering roughly 10,000 years in the making. And the thing it was engineered to replace, the actual wild animal underneath all that wool, is leaner, browner, more alert, and would outrun most dogs. By the end of this video, you'll understand what a sheep actually is underneath the wool, why it can recognize your face better than you'd expect, why an entire animal on a different continent once nearly died from not being sheared, and what almost nobody realizes is happening inside a sheep's skull every time it looks at you. Start with the eyes, because the eyes tell you immediately that you're not looking at a simple animal. A sheep's pupil isn't round like yours. It's a horizontal rectangle. That single detail rearranges the entire animal's relationship with the world. A rectangular pupil laid sideways in a laterally placed eye gives a sheep somewhere between 270 and 320 degrees of vision, nearly the full circle around its body, without turning its head at all. It can watch the ground in front of it, and a predator approaching from almost directly behind, simultaneously, in focus. You have maybe 180 degrees, and most of that isn't sharp. The sheep's whole visual system is a prey animal's answer to a question you've never had to ask. What does the world look like if something is always allowed to be sneaking up on you? That's the wild animal talking. Because underneath the wool and the docility, a sheep is still running prey animal software that's millions of years old, layered underneath a domestic body that's only about 10 to 11,000 years old. Sheep were among the very first animals humans ever domesticated, alongside dogs and goats, somewhere in the Fertile Crescent, the region covering modern-day Iraq, Iran, Turkey, and Syria. The wild ancestor is called the mouflon, and if you put a mouflon next to a modern domestic sheep, you would not immediately clock them as the same species. The mouflon is reddish-brown, lean, alert, built like a small deer with curved horns, and covered not in wool, but in coarse outer hair, with a short, fine undercoat hidden beneath it. The undercoat that early humans discovered they could use. That's the part almost nobody gets right when they picture a sheep. People assume wool is just what sheep naturally grow, the way fur is what a fox naturally grows. It isn't. Wool, in the thick, continuously growing blanket covering the entire body form you're picturing, is a human invention wearing an animal's body. Early herders selectively bred the sheep with the most undercoat, generation after generation, for thousands of years, deliberately suppressing the coarse outer hair and expanding the soft inner layer until the coat and the wool became the same garment. Wild sheep shed their coat naturally once a year, the way a dog does. Most modern domestic sheep breeds cannot. The shedding gene got bred out of them, right along with the fear response, the lean build, and the outer hair. Because humans didn't want an animal that dropped its wool on the ground, where they'd have to go pick it up piece by piece. They wanted an animal that held the wool on its body until a person with shears decided otherwise. Which raises the obvious follow-up question. What happens if that person with shears never shows up? The answer has a name, and the name is Shrek, not the ogre. A merino wether, a castrated male sheep who escaped mustering on a farm in New Zealand's South Island, was found again in 2004, and having spent roughly 6 years living wild in mountain caves, never once being sheared. When he was finally found and brought in, his fleece was so overgrown it had become structurally part of the landscape he lived in, matted, over 2 feet thick in places, and weighing somewhere around 27 kilograms, roughly 60 pounds, nearly a third of his own body mass. He couldn't see properly. He could barely regulate his own body heat in the New Zealand summer. He became a national celebrity, was sheared live on television, and the resulting fleece alone was enough wool for around 20 men's suits. Shrek is the single clearest proof that exists of what wool actually is. Not a garment nature gave sheep to survive with, but a garment humans gave sheep that, left unchecked, becomes something closer to a threat to survival. A wild mouflon never needs a haircut. A domestic sheep, in a very real sense, cannot survive long-term without one. That's not an accident. That's 10,000 years of design. Say that again, because it's the idea this whole video keeps circling back to. That's not an accident. That's 10,000 years of design. Nearly everything unusual about a sheep, once you look closely, turns out to be something humans put there on purpose, whether or not the sheep had any say in it. Here's the second thing almost everyone gets wrong, and it's the one that tends to surprise people most. Sheep are not stupid. Dumb as a sheep, mindless flock, sheeple. The entire cultural shorthand for unthinking conformity is built on an animal that, when actually tested, performs closer to what you'd expect from a dog or a pig than from whatever mental image livestock conjures. In 2001, a research team led by Dr. Keith Kendrick at the Babraham Institute in Cambridge ran a series of facial recognition experiments on sheep and found they could learn to distinguish and remember the faces of at least 50 individual sheep, and human faces too, retaining that recognition for as long as 2 years. 2 years. Most people can't confidently place a face they met once at a conference 2 years ago. And if, like me, you have prosopagnosia, then 2 days is a challenge. A sheep, shown a photograph, can. In 2014, researchers at Aberystwyth University in Wales trained sheep to navigate a maze to reach a food reward. And the sheep didn't just learn the route, they solved it, adjusted when the maze was altered, and outperformed the researchers' initial expectations enough to get global press coverage under headlines nobody expected to write about sheep. The flocking behavior itself, the thing that made sheep a synonym for mindlessness in the first place, isn't mindlessness either. It's strategy. When a group of prey animals bunches tightly together, it's called the selfish herd effect. Every individual sheep is trying to put another sheep's body between itself and whatever might be hunting it. And the emergent result of a few hundred animals all doing that simultaneously is the tight, shifting, seemingly synchronized clump you picture when you picture a flock. It looks like one mind. It's actually hundreds of small, self-interested decisions layered on top of each other, each one perfectly rational from the animal making it. The sheep isn't failing to think for itself. It's thinking about survival, using the exact same logic that governs a school of fish or a flock of starlings, and it's very good at it. Think about what that actually implies for a second. An animal culturally shorthand for no independent thought that can recognize 50 faces for 2 years, solve an altered maze, and run a live threat assessment calculation 50 times a second inside a moving group. The dumb sheep isn't a fact about sheep. It's a fact about how convincing an insult can be, even when it's aimed at the wrong species. There's a smaller, stranger misconception sitting right next to that one, and it's about the phrase, counting sheep. You've heard it your whole life as shorthand for falling asleep. Picture sheep jumping a fence, count them, drift off. It turns out that as an actual sleep technique, it barely works, and in some studies performs worse than doing nothing at all. Researchers at Oxford, led by sleep scientist Alison Harvey, compared insomniacs who counted sheep against insomniacs who were asked to visualize a calm, immersive scene, a waterfall, a beach, and against a control group given no instruction at all. The sheep counters fell asleep slower than either group. The theory is that counting sheep is repetitive and monotonous, without being genuinely absorbing, which leaves just enough spare mental bandwidth for your actual worries to creep back in around the edges of the counting. The animal that's supposedly too boring to think about turns out to be a bad enough distraction that thinking about it keeps you awake. If this is the kind of question you didn't know you had until someone answered it, a like on this video is a genuinely easy way to help it find more people who'd enjoy the same thing. Appreciate it. And there's plenty more of the actual animal left to get through. Because underneath the wool, the flocking and the reputation, a sheep is still, biologically, a highly specialized eating machine. And that specialization is where the last big misconception lives. People assume a sheep just eats grass the way you'd eat a sandwich. Grab it, chew it, swallow it, done. It's nowhere close to that simple. A sheep is a ruminant, meaning it has a 4-chambered stomach. The rumen, reticulum, omasum, and abomasum. and grass, which is almost nutritionally worthless to most animals because of how much indigestible cellulose it contains, gets broken down in stages across all 4 chambers, with the help of billions of microorganisms living inside the rumen itself. The sheep isn't really digesting grass. The microbes are digesting the grass, and the sheep is digesting the microbes' byproducts, and part of that process involves regurgitating partially digested plant matter back up to re-chew it, the actual technical, unglamorous origin of the phrase chewing the cud. It is essentially outsourcing digestion to a private internal fermentation vat it carries around inside its own body. That system is so efficient at extracting nutrition from otherwise useless plant fiber that sheep can survive and even thrive on land too poor, too steep, or too marginal to support crop farming, which is precisely why humans spread sheep across nearly every hill, mountainside, and scrubland on the planet, from the Scottish Highlands to the Andes to the high plateaus of Central Asia. The animal wasn't just bred to be useful, it was bred to be useful in places nothing else could be. You can even read a sheep's age off its own mouth, because sheep teeth develop on a schedule reliable enough that shepherds have used it for centuries as a built-in clock. A lamb has small temporary incisors, and as it ages, those get replaced by permanent teeth in pairs, 2 by roughly a year old, 4 around 2, 6 around 3, and a full set of 8 by about 4, at which point the sheep is called, in traditional terminology, full-mouthed. After that, the teeth just wear down, and an experienced shepherd can look at a sheep's mouth and tell you roughly how many winters it's lived through. No records required. It's an almost absurdly analog piece of technology sitting inside a very complicated animal. A built-in odometer nobody had to invent, because 10,000 years of breeding never touched it. Here's the piece that actually reframes all of it. Every single one of those traits, the rectangular pupils built for constant threat scanning, the wool that won't stop growing, the facial memory, the selfish herd flocking, the borrowed digestive microbiome, even the teeth acting as a built-in calendar, is either something evolution built to keep a wild prey animal alive on a hillside with predators on it, or something humans deliberately bred on top of that wild foundation to make the animal more useful, more manageable, more productive, and less able to survive without them. A sheep is genuinely a 2-layer animal. Millions of years of predator evasion instinct on the bottom. 10,000 years of very deliberate human editing stacked directly on top. And the strange part is how seamlessly those 2 layers now operate as one creature. The same rectangular pupils that once watched for wolves on a Mesopotamian hillside are right now watching a farm gate for a person carrying a bucket, running the exact same threat and opportunity calculation, just pointed at a completely different world than the one that built it. There are somewhere around 1.2 billion domestic sheep alive on Earth right now, spread across virtually every continent except Antarctica, in more than 1,000 distinct breeds, ranging from tiny hardy island breeds bred to survive on nothing but seaweed and salt marsh grass, to the enormous densely wooled merino flocks that turned Australia into the largest wool exporting country on the planet. Every one of those billion-plus animals is carrying the same 2-layer design. Ancient instinct, ancient body plan, wrapped in thousands of years of very specific human intention. If you like getting an animal you thought you already understood, taken completely apart like this, subscribing means the next one of these lands in your feed automatically, and leaving a comment with the next animal, object, or idea you want turned inside out genuinely helps decide what gets made next. This channel runs almost entirely on that list. So, what is a sheep? It isn't the soft, empty-headed cotton ball animal you started this video picturing. It's a wild mountain prey animal, wearing an outfit humans have spent 10,000 years tailoring onto it. So thoroughly that the outfit can now, in extreme cases, threaten to kill the animal wearing it if nobody ever takes it off. It's an animal that can hold your face in its memory for 2 years, run a live 320-degree threat scan without turning its head, and carry a working odometer built directly into its own teeth. That's not an accident. That's 10,000 years of design. And one last piece of it almost nobody knows. The word sheepish, meaning bashful or embarrassed, has been used in English since at least the 1200s, centuries before anyone had run a single cognitive test on the animal it's named after. Which means humans spent nearly 1,000 years mocking sheep for looking meek and unintelligent, using a word built entirely on assumption, while the actual animal, this whole time, was quietly recognizing every one of their faces,